Okay, so I've been looking at a very interesting document by Cancer Research. And this document, this kind of like financial report, makes a very staggering claim that Cancer Research UK was able to produce or generate a kind of return of investment amounting to £5 billion. It's crazy. I mean, they're almost saying that investing in cancer research will produce this huge return of £5 billion to the UK economy. And, I'm really, really impressed with that. Well done. It's really amazing. But there are some catches to it. Of course, they're a charity. Cancer research is meant to be a scientific funding arm that pays for labs, pays for doctors and scientists to find new ways to fight cancer, find treatments, that kind of thing. And so one of the catches is that it's also very expensive to pay for this research. So in that same time span, this is between the years 2020 and 2021, Cancer Research received $1.8 billion in investments. So that's a lot of money. And I think then you can see why they're trying to justify that, hey, $1.8 billion, you gave us a lot, we produced a lot of value as well. So, but still, it's still pretty good, right? I mean, 1.8 to 5 billion. Imagine you are a company and you can produce like 250% returns on investment. Well done. Your shareholders will give you even more money. But then again, when you look closer at the report, the 5 billion. Now, it's quite amazing. It's a very intangible kind of calculation. Most of it is in terms of jobs. Well, it created lots of jobs. I think 3.6 billion of that value was calculated in terms of the 47,000 new employment positions that it created in that year. Very, very impressive. But essentially, it's paying salaries. But the rest of that, now this is very, very good. 1.4 billion of that total was calculated in terms of patient lives. And what it's saying is that more patients were alive because of their treatments. More patients were able to live longer because they got a treatment, a kind of diagnosis, a kind of benefit that came from cancer research. And the way they got to that number, 1.4 billion, was they used something called a QALY, QALY, that calculates the value of a person's year. I think it comes up to like £60,000. And so you add it up, you get £1.4 billion. And then you go, hey, wait, that's just a monetary value. But yeah, it's useful though. What it's saying is that patient lives are improved, people are benefiting from this research, you're saving lives, but it's also helpful to have that kind of quantification. So those are the headlines. Cancer research is a good investment. I think that's what they're trying to say. But they're also being very, very ambitious, because I think the point of this document is not just to say that we're using your money well. They're being very, very transparent with that 1.8 billion, but that they want more. They want to grow. And I think they're trying to say that the fight against cancer is still going on and they need more money to do this work. But also, they're trying to pitch it in such a way that actually it's like, good business. You can actually get a return and you can actually quantify this return. And so the rest of the document, actually most of it, is almost like looking to the future, very markety kind of material. They give some success stories. They talk about a couple of spin-offs. There's this drug that is able to treat prostate cancer. It's very, very impressive. It's able to raise the life expectancy by 37%. So very, very impressive. And it's a cancer drug that's in the form of a pill. Imagine you have prostate cancer and you just like swallow a pill. It's amazing, right? And I think it made like a couple of billion in just that year. Let me look up that number. Yes, 2.5 billion in sales in 2020 alone. So you get what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, we put in the money, developed this research, produced a kind of product that could be sold and brought in a return. So success. The other thing that they highlighted was a device. It's called a cytosponge. Again, it's a way of detecting early precursor to cancer, Barrett's esophagus. I actually worked in that lab in Cambridge, so I'm very, very happy to see that included in the report. But again, it's trying to promote actual tangible things. You give money to research, you think it's just people in the lab coats. But when you come out with an actual thing that is being sold, being used, you see that, hey, actually there's a tangible result to this research. And all this is laying the foundation for more. And so one statistic that they put in is that by the year 2040, just around the corner, not very far away, about 17 years, 2040, there's going to be an increase in incidences of cancer by 40%. And that's very, very bad news. It's not great, right? 40% more people are going to get cancer every year. It's a byproduct. I mean, they're not just trying to be all doom and gloom. They're trying to say that people are living longer. People are going to benefit from being able to live longer, health benefits, that kind of thing. And as a result of that, they're going to get cancer. But because of that rise, there needs to be a rise in the funding. You see where they're trying to go. They're trying to say now we get 1.8 billion. I think they're trying to project that they will need something like 3 billion by the year 2040. And so they say, what? But if you give us 3 billion, we're going to get, let me look at the number. I think what's the number again? I'm looking at the number. I can't find it. I need to cut this out. 13 billion. So 3 billion will bring in 13 billion in terms of benefits by the year 2040. And it shows that realistically, this fight will carry on for a while longer. 2040, there's just going to be more incidence of cancer. There's going to be more need for cancer research. But in a businessy kind of way, what it's saying is that we're investable. We will grow. We will need to do more, but there will be more returns. We'll need more investment, but there will be more results from this work. And so the way that this document ends is by highlighting the different areas of work. And they're interestingly enough, they're all areas of technology. So it shows that the forward-looking direction of cancer research is investments into different types of technology. And chief of this is genome sequencing. They're very honest about this. I think something like 19% growth, compound growth. And it says that because genome sequencing is getting cheaper, more people are going to incorporate it into research and diagnostics. And that's true. Genome sequencing used to be crazy, used to like 100,000 pounds like 15, 20 years ago, dropped to about 10,000 in 2010. Now it's under 1,000 and dropping even further, possibly a few hundred. And that kind of drop in price means essentially you can incorporate DNA sequencing into just about every step of diagnosis to research to treatment. And it's just making it possible for us to look at cancer in a very finely tuned way. Cancer is the disease of DNA. And this is just the tool, the basic tool that you need to be able to deal with the problem. So foundational to that, again, is genome sequencing. But other areas of technology, biomarker development, just being able to detect cancer. And these days, the challenge is to detect cancer early. You don't just want to detect cancer when you already have cancer and then detect what type of cancer, but you want to detect maybe even in healthy individuals. And there are very interesting ways that they do this. They detect it in the breath. You blow into a thing and it tries to detect the presence of cancer cells. The more common one is liquid biopsy. This is where they take your blood and try to find different markers in protein and DNA to find cancer presence as well. And this is a new, ongoing, developing field, but there is a lot of promise in it. Other technologies, cancer vaccines, kind of like COVID vaccines, stimulates your immune system to be able to fight cancer. Nanoparticle delivery systems, that means you target the cancer cells. It's not like chemo, everything gets attacked. but you target the actual cells and you leave the healthy cells alone. Finally, big data. Cancer is a big problem, and DNA is a big map of the problem. And actually using AI, using machine learning just helps speed it up, helps to be more precise, helps to discover things that would otherwise be very difficult to do without the computer. Yeah. So thanks to computers, thanks to AI, there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of progress. And I think there's a lot of work to be done. I think that's what the document does. The document tries to paint a picture of a very serious problem like cancer, but in a very hopeful way. It's very investable. It's trying to maybe even encourage people to do startups and to start up businesses and to invest in startups that look into cancer research. But it's also trying to say that we've come a long way, and now's the time to really, really make a go for it. I think cancer research is right. I think the problem is one that we understand a lot better now. But at the same time, I think it also highlights the scale. It is something that really deserves the attention that it has now. I think Malaysia, Malaysia doesn't have 1.8 billion pounds to throw at this. But I do see its potential here and its need as well. I think one way to maybe get things going here, back home, is to show that there are benefits to it. There are tangible benefits, creating jobs, creating a kind of economy that is based on knowledge, and creating a kind of return on investment for the people here to invest in cancer research right here in Malaysia. So that's why I find very, very encouraging, very, very helpful by this document by Cancer Research UK, seeing how it can maybe be applied closer to home. Yeah, I'll leave a link to the document in the description. Do check it out. But it's good stuff, very, very encouraging.